Okay, so English version of the same topic we just went through in Finnish. Power BI visual calculations, new feature that came out with the latest release of the Power BI desktop. It has enough battery for this session. I don't know why the charger is not working. New feature that came out like last week, and what it's a feature in Power BI desktop, tries to solve a problem where if we need calculations that would make more sense on the dataset or visual dataset level, we don't have currently an option, or before this feature, we didn't have an option to do like DAX calculations on top of DAX calculations. What I mean is that if someone asked that, could you create this type of visual? Yes, it probably was possible to do, but it was very complex because you needed to take care of all the user interactions and possible user interactions in your visual. And now visual calculations are something that you can apply DAX statements on top of already executed DAX dataset. So kind of two-phase process where you pick up a visual, create that like you have always done. That executes statement against the model and returns a dataset. Then you have rows and columns and numbers and texts in those rows and columns. Then you can apply now new calculations on top of that. And how it works, we will see shortly. There are some limitations on this feature as of now. Some of them are going away, but as of now, it doesn't work on all the visual types. There are some performance things, and then there's some filtering and all those kind of other limitations you can view from the documentation. But if we look the feature itself, we have here just the standard adventure work dataset with sales measure, sum of sales amount, and then I have year, quarter, and month on the y-axis, and on the x-axis I have currencies. And I would like to do calculations on top of this one. So here is a new button, new calculation, which if not visible in your Power BI desktop, can be enabled from the file properties and preview features, and from there visual calculation is the new preview feature you would like to enable. When I click this new calculation, it asks me about the name of the calculation. So we will call this as a first demo example, sales times 2, x2. And we will kind of create our statement. If I take a square bracket, I can see all the columns from the dataset that this visualization provides. So no longer do I have measures, no longer do I have like other tables or something. These are just columns or on this dataset. So I can take a sales column, which was sales measure when we created this dataset, and for example, multiply that by 2. And then it will be added as a value on the visualization, and it's double the time of the sales column. This visual calculation measure is available only in this visual calculation. It's not available anywhere else, and as of now, you cannot copy them from visual to visual. So basically, you have to recreate them every time you need it. Also, some of these measures could be like helping measures, so they can be hidden. If you click that icon, so they are not visible on the actual visual, but they still are behind the scenes. So you can kind of use that as your vehicle to execute more complex measures. Then we have some windowing functions. So if I click a new calculation, and let's call this as a previous, not that it's a good name, but because it's easier to then see on the list that what we have done, there are functions like previous, next, and some others that where you kind of can reference in this data set to previous elements. I'm saying elements because let's now see if I take a previous of sales one step behind, axis, rows, then blanks and reset. I'm not interested in those as of now, but I will create this. So now the previous is always the previous from there. So if you look this previous, sorry, this one, this one, this one, this one. It's the previous row in the dataset. But as this is now no longer like standard DAX dataset, it's a table, dataset table. I can also reference that as a previous column. So then this previous is actually the kind of in the column context, 107, 107, 70, 70, 113, 113. So kind of it's no, this was before this feature. It was very hard to reference other columns within the same data set. So now kind of this is easy. You can just travel up or down, left or right, and you can do both. So columns or rows, or columns rows, or rows columns, which basically this icon describes it very well, that you go first from left right, then to the next row, and from left right, if that kind of visualization is something where you want to show something like that. Those are the axes or directions you can choose. Then let's try to make this work again, like this. Then there was the next one, which was all the kind of aggregation functions built in. So most common calculations have been added here as a separate built-in function, which do not work in the standard DAX calculations, but only in visual calculations, which is, for example, the running sum. So running sum is from sales with rows, and then if I blanks and reset, do not use them, is a running sum. It's just a running sum going forward. So now every row is kind of been added on top of the previous row. I could modify this one so that instead of kind of ever going bigger and bigger, I could reset this at the first level or any level in this visualization. So then basically it means that here, when year changes, this is level 1, this running sum will start from the scratch. So when 2009 starts, it will start from scratch. So kind of you can define that, yes, create me a running sum, but reset this on certain level. There are built-in functions like highest parent and lowest parent, which reference on this data set the most top layer or the most bottom layer. So kind of to help you if that's needed, but you can also define it like the number of the level. Then we also have a collapse function, which helps you when you need to combine like grand totals or mid-level sums or something, mid-level totals or something like that. And it works in a way that if let's call this collapse, this column, and I will use collapse from sales, rows, and 1, as a level, it will show me here that it will go up, like up until the year ends, and then it will start from the scratch, like you can see from here. And if I make this instead of 1, let's make them in more detailed level, so 2, then you can see that this is like same up until here, and then it changes. Now I'm a bit lost that why it's collapsed to, did I pull it, because it makes no sense. Rows, second, put it back to 1. Now it's this one. Whenever it changes, here it's same again. Here it's same again. Yes, now it makes more sense again. So this is now the quarter, so 1. If I would put 0 here, it would be the month level, so the lowest level. Okay, it doesn't allow me anymore to do 0, but that would be kind of reset everything. 1 is to reset at quarter level, 2 is to reset at yearly level. So it goes from kind of this is layer 0, this is layer 1, and this is layer 2. So now it runs same number as long as year is same, and then it changes when the year changes. So kind of running or collapse you can use to shrink, do the same thing as you would do when you shrink this, so that you get the number at the higher level and reference that one if you need that in your calculation. There is also a version of the collapse which is collapse all, which doesn't take this measure because it's always every layer, and then it collapses all the way to the upmost highest level. So now it's always the same 45 million because that's the total. So it's kind of same as shrinking all those plus icons to the minus icons. But I kind of multiple different ways to travel on the data set we have already calculated. So if you have a calculations that could be done on the visual, you can kind of see that, hey, I want these two numbers to be summed together and then divided by the third one, or this group of numbers that I can calculate. You now have an option to do more calculations on the data set that we have already calculated to create the visualizations, data behind the visualization. Perfect. So that was this week's session. Very cool feature, and I hope that it's valuable for you.